Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day to my respected lecturer, Madam Unasha, and all of my friends. Hi, I'm Adelina from Group 5. Our group, we want to talk about Nusyuz. First of all, I want to define the terms of Nusyuz. Nusyuz comes from the Arabic root word which is nashaza, which carries the meaning of elevation, rebellion, and disobedience. Literally, it describes something that rises above its proper place. When applied to human behaviors, it refers to attitudes or actions that go beyond the limits of respect and responsibility. So, nusyuz is about stepping out of the boundary that maintain harmony. The term of nusyuz also appears in the Quran, which is in the Surah An-Nisa, to address marital conflict, to focus on behaviors from ideal response that disturb peace in the relationship. Classical Islamic scholars, whether Hanafi, Shafi'i, Maliki, or Hanbali, generally define nusyuz as persistent disobedience, refusal to fulfill marital obligations, and behaviors that disrupts the rights and responsibility within marriage. In other words, it is any harmful attitude that threatens the stability of the household. Finally, when we look at how scholars define nusyuz today, the meaning has expanded in a more holistic way. Modern scholars highlight that nusyuz is not just about outward disobedience, it includes emotional harm, lack of cooperation, neglect, disrespect, and behaviors that weaken the well-being of the relationship. Most importantly, contemporary interpretations emphasize that nusyuz can happen from either the husband or the wife because both share responsibility in building a peaceful home.
Nusyuz can be seen through certain behaviors that show disobedience or disrespect in their marriage. Common signs include refusing to cooperate with the husband, intentionally ignoring responsibilities, speaking harshly, or showing a continuous attitude of rebellion. There are several reasons why nusyuz may happen. The first cause is lack of communication, where misunderstandings are not resolved properly. Secondly, emotional neglect, when the wife feels unloved or unsupported. Another cause is when the husband does not fulfill her rights, such as nafkah or proper treatment. And external influences like friends, family, or social media may also affect her behavior. And lastly, personality factors such as temper, stubbornness, or stress can contribute as well. There are certain examples of behaviors that are truly considered nusyuz include leaving the house without the husband's permission, speaking disrespectfully or insulting him, refusing reasonable requests that did not go against Sharia, intentionally neglecting duties and inappropriate interaction with other men. So these behaviors directly go against Islamic marital responsibilities. There are also many misunderstandings about what nusyuz means. For example, disagreeing with the husband is not nusyuz as long as the wife's opinion does not contradict with the Sharia, then it is okay to have differing views from the husband. Secondly, refusing harmful, unfair, or un-Islamic requests is also not nusyuz. If the husband fails to provide nafkah or proper treatment, the wife is not considered nusyuz for refusing certain demands. And other than that, feeling tired, needing personal space, or protecting herself from harm also does not fall under nusyuz. And in conclusion, nusyuz should be understood carefully with fairness and justice for both spouses.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Shkrikimi bin Muhammad Babashah. My metric numbers is 2329185. So I'll be explaining about the nusyuz of the husband in terms of signs, causes, and some examples. So firstly is the signs of husband in nusyuz is neglecting nafkah. For the husband is to fail to provide food, shelter, and clothing. Next is emotional abuse. For example, throwing harsh words to the wife, and humiliations, and also silent treatment. And thirdly is physical harm or forced intimacy. And fourth and the last signs is unfair treatment, especially in polygamy, as the most cases is the husband failed to give a fairer treatment to the both wife. And next, moving on to the causes of nusyuz of the husband is firstly is financial stress or irresponsibility, And the second one is misunderstanding the religious authority, which is the misusing the Quran. And thirdly is a bad communication between the husband and wife. And fourth, the last one is external influence, probably from the husband environment, from the friends, families, or third parties. And so the example of the nushuz of the husband is first is not giving nafkah but spending on hobbies. Like I said, the science of nushuz, this is the example, not giving nafkah but spending on hobbies. As we know that the husband's responsibility is to provide nafkah to the wife. And second is comparing wife to another woman. This also commonly happen, usually happen after the 10 years and onwards of the marriage. And thirdly is ignoring wife for days and weeks. And fourth, the last one is cheating or secret chatting with a non-mahram. So that's all. And I want to share a little bit about a basis of Quranic verse, which is from the Suratul An-Nisa, um, from the verse 128, sound, if a woman fears indifference or neglect from the husband, there is no blame on either of them if they seek fair settlement, which is best. Humans are ever inclined to selfishness, but if you are gracious and mindful of Allah, surely Allah is all aware of what you do. That's all from me. Thank you.
So what does Quran and Hadith has to say about nusyuz? Based on Surah An-Nisa verse 34, which focuses on nusyuz by the wives, it has clearly outlined three conflict de-escalation process, which is firstly is to give nasihah or gentle advice, which is to engage in sincere counseling and reminder instead of scolding. And then secondly, hajar or separation in bed symbolizes emotional distancing, meant to reduce the tension instead of punishing them. And then doroba or to strike them, which remains a highly debated word, and contemporary scholars emphasize that it does not permit harm or violence against the wives, because Rasulullah SAW permitted any harm or violence against the wives, as Sahih al-Bukhari recorded that Rasulullah say, none of you should flog his wife as he flogged a slave, then have intercourse with her later in the day, based on the book of wedlock or nikah. On the other hand, Surah An-Nisa verse 128 discusses nusyuz or discord from the husband's side. In this verse, it says, and if a woman fears from her husband contempt or evasion, there is no sin upon them if they make terms of settlement between them, and settlement is the best. In this ayah, it encourages sulhan or reconciliation, which can be made by negotiation, voluntary compromise, or settlement when the husband shows neglect or emotional withdrawal. And the existence of the discussion in the Quran of nusyuz from the wife and the husband shows the Quran's balanced view, recognizing that either spouse can actually cause marital disharmony. And we can see that from the hadith and Quranic ayah that conflict resolution in Islam is based on mutual respect, communication, kindness, and avoiding harm against each other. And I will end my presentation with a hadith that says, khairukum khairukum linnisa'ihim wa ana khairukum linnisa'i. The best of you are those who are the best to their wives, and I am the best of you to my wives. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So my name is Amin Naim, and I'm going to talk about solution and conflict resolution in Islam. So there are three ways. So the first way is a step-by-step in Islamic method to resolve the nusyuz. So it is Islam outline that based on Surah An-Nisa in verse 434 and 435 to handle the marital conflict. So the step is go from the advice, go to the separation, and the last one go to the mediation. So the first one is a nasiha, which is advice and reminder. The second one is hijab, a temporary separation in bed. And the last one go to the mediation, or what can we call hakam. So let's we go deeper. So nasiha, the first step always talking nicely, giving advice and trying to understand the root of the issues because the communication should be respectful, calm and private. The purpose behind it is to solve the problem without escalation. So the second one is hijab. If advice doesn't work, Islam suggests taking a short emotional distance. This does not mean leaving the house, just sleeping separately. The purpose behind it to allow both partners to reflect and cool down. So the last one is a mediation. If conflict continues, Islam encourage third party mediation or what can we call hakam just now from the husband family and one from the wife family. Their role identify the real issue and find a fair solution before considering divorce. Let's we go to the second way. The second one is about counseling, mediation, and fair treatment. Which counseling is getting help from religious scholars, counselors, or trusted family members. It used for deeper emotional communication or behavioral issue. The second one is a mediation hakam. This is reinforce the earlier concept which there are two mediators. They are neutral. They try to save the marriage and prevent unfairness. There was a fair treatment where both husband and wife must treat each other fairly and justly because Islam does not allow oppression, abuse, or manipulation for either side. The goal is to restore balance and fairness in right and responsibilities. Let's we go to the last way. The last way is a role of communication and ihsan in marriage. So communication. A healthy communication prevents small issues from becoming a nuisance. It involves listening actively, respectful conversation, avoiding insult or anger, discussing solution, not attacking the character, and the last one, apologize when wrong. Good communication is the best to rebuild the trust. And the last one is ihsan. It's about excellence and kindness. As you guys know, Islam teaches spouse, where wife and husband need to treat each other with kindness beyond the minimum expectation. That is what can we call ihsan. It includes being patient, showing empathy, choosing gentleness over anger, and the last one, prioritize love, respect, and harmony over the ego. So that's all from me. Thank you.
We will now move on to the Malaysian legal perspectives on Nusyuz. Nusyuz declarations must first go through formal Sharia court process. Husbands cannot just declare there was disobedience informally. Under the Islamic Family Law, Federal Territories Act 1984, Section 59, Subsection 2 states that, subject to hukum syara and confirmation by the court, a wife shall not be entitled to maintenance or nafkah when she is nushuz. Therefore, in order for the husband to release his responsibility to provide the wife with maintenance on the basis of nushuz, the declaration or the offense must first be confirmed by the Sharia court. Lastly, we will look at balanced Islamic principles underlying nushuz judgments. And of course, there are many, but I will only highlight a few. So the first one would be mutual rights and responsibilities. In Surah Al-Rum verse 21, it is read that He created for you spouses from among yourselves so that you may find comfort in them. From this verse, we can conclude that the husband and wife must be the source of peace for each other. And moving on to the next one is consultation and agreement. Decisions on living arrangements, financial, taking care of the parents, and more must be joint and not dictated by one side. A husband and a wife are partners, so both of their opinions or decisions should be agreed upon by each other. As mentioned in Surah Ash-Shura, verse 38, who respond to their Lord, establish prayer, conduct their affairs by mutual consultation, and donate from what we have provided for them. From this ayah, we can see it's proving that Islam emphasizes mutual consultation in all relationships, including marriage. And lastly, there's no harm and no reciprocating harm, meaning no physical, mental, or emotional harm should be caused by either spouse, and none of these harms should be reciprocated by both spouses. That is all from me.